Okay, perfect. So I already announced Oliver, who's the International Recruitment Manager for the Academia GUIU here in Barcelona. And they offer some very interesting programs that will enable you to join undergraduate programs at public universities in Spain. Oliver, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, first of all, my name is Oliver. I'm the International Recruitment Manager of Academia GUIU. Basically, I've been working for the last 4 years here at Academia GUIU. And well, we're a school located and based in Barcelona. Basically, our two campuses are located here in the city center of Barcelona. And we offer both the Spanish language courses and also pathway courses to access public and private universities in Spain. So as additional information, our academy was founded in 1892. So we've been for a long time working on the education industry. And we're the leading academy in Spain offering this kind of pathway courses to access university.
Thanks, Oliver. And I'm particularly excited about the session today because you wouldn't believe how many requests we get for joining these affordable and highly ranked programs in the top institutions in Spain. And in the session today, also for the people who just joined, we will cover kind of the pathway that you can go with Academia GUIU. Where you first learn the language and then you get prepared for the entry exams. But Oliver, to start off with, could you tell us a bit about the public university system here in Spain?
Well, as you may know, Spain has a public university system and it's becoming really popular during the recent years. In Spain, more than 70 universities are public and the rest are private universities. Universities are distributed all around the country, all around Spain. Of course, the largest and most important universities are located in Barcelona and in Madrid, the two biggest cities and the two most important cities in the country. And well, regarding specifically Catalonia and Barcelona, well, the city has 12 universities all around Barcelona. And it's one of the most important university community in Spain. At the end, it's becoming quite popular to study in Spain because of the lower fees, because of the cost of living. It's considerably cheaper than any other countries. And yeah, that's more or less how the university system is working. Most of it is public, meaning that basically the cost of studies is considerably lower than in other countries.
Yeah, that's true. And you made a very good point. I mean, the biggest and most important cities in Spain are Barcelona and Madrid. For the information for everyone here, Oliver and I are both based in Barcelona because there's like a little unofficial fight between Barcelona and Madrid. If you have to choose, for me, the beach is king. So that's why I'm based in Barcelona, but Madrid has a lot to offer, of course.
Yeah, of course. At the end, both cities has a lot of advantages and disadvantages. But at the end, these are the two biggest cities, and of course, where you'll be able to find more opportunities after all. So, yeah, from my point of view, I would also say I prefer Barcelona, exactly because of the same. At the end, yeah, that's a huge advantage. But of course, Madrid has many good points as well.
That's absolutely true. But Oliver, let's talk a bit about the program itself. I think we have a lot of undergraduate students here who would be interested in studying for really low tuition fees. But maybe we can just take an exemplary case. Let's say I just finished my high school in my country that's based outside of the EU. If I want to study, say, engineering in a Barcelona-based university, what are the steps that I have to do?
Well, first of all, in order to access undergraduate programs, you need to know that there are two things which are compulsory and, well, everyone has to take. The first one is all international students need to have their high school diploma and they need to have their high school studies completed. It doesn't matter where they complete these high school studies. It can be completed, as you said, in any country of the world. And they just need to obtain the official recognition of these studies. Okay, this will be done or can be done at least here in Spain with us, and it's also possible to complete this procedure through the Spanish embassy in any country. okay? But at the end, I think it's easier usually for students to complete this procedure once they've arrived to the country, with our help on that case, or well, with help coming from professionals who have done that before, because at the end it's not an easy procedure, to say it in some way, but with the correct help it can be done easily. And then the second compulsory thing is to pass an official exam. Okay, this official exam, it can be called PCE, can be called selectividad here, nationally speaking, and this is a compulsory exam to access, of course, public universities. Basically, after completing these two things, everyone can be studying in Spain, okay? All public universities are accepting international students. Tuition fees per year are considerably lower than studying somewhere else. So yeah, at the end, it's a huge opportunity, and they just need to follow these two steps to have these two things: their high school completed and then passing these exams. Of course, in order to pass these exams, we'll talk about it later, but we're offering many different preparation courses to guarantee that all international students will be able to access these courses.
Okay, so like just to summarize, for people who want to join the public university system, they need to have completed their 12 years of high school, and they need their transcripts and diploma. And then you also mentioned a legalization process. Here in Spain, it's called homologación. But basically what it does, it takes the grades that you achieved in your home country and translate it to the Spanish system, because they want to make sure that people start off more or less on the same level.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, of course, the homologation procedure can be done through different institutions. The most common one is the Ministry of Education here in Spain. But yeah, at the end, to sum up, is as you said, okay, it's a standard procedure, well, to make sure that everyone is playing on the same rules and they will have the same chances to access university.
And that's what we want after all, right? So
exactly.
let's talk a bit more about your program, because the requirements that we just mentioned are not the only ones. There's also an entry exam. This year it will happen in the end of May, I believe. And how can Academia GUIU facilitate the university entry exam, and in general, how can you help our students?
Well, yeah, explaining some further information about the exam. The exam is taking place every year, and there are two different calls. Okay, the first one is always by the end of May. As you mentioned, this year, well, in some months, all international students who are here studying with us, they will be passing that exam. And then the second call, it will be done by the beginning of September, okay? So there are two different calls. There are two opportunities in order to take these exams. However, the most common one is the May call, okay? At the end, if you get the grade you need in May, you will be automatically accessing the public system. And on the other hand, if you pass the exam in September, all the students who pass the exam in May will have preference. So maybe you don't get the place, or you don't access the university you want to apply to. So it's much safer to take the exam in May.
So what you're saying is students should aim at passing the first exam, because then the universities will already give away the study places and enrollments. So if students take the second take, which could be in September, they're just basically filling up the last open spots. So it's exactly. Much more likely to succeed in the program you want when you take the first intake.
Absolutely right. Yeah, and from our point of view, it's always better to take the exam in May, and that's why two of our main courses are starting on a date which are October and January, but both of them are ending by the middle of May, just before the official exams. Okay, so I will let you know some more information about the official exam. This exam has two different phases. Okay, the first phase, it's a compulsory phase. Well, in Spanish, it's called fase general. It's a general phase, and it's including 4 different subjects. Okay, these 4 subjects are Spanish language and literature. Then you have a foreign language, which is usually English. I mean, it's the most popular option. Of course, you can also choose French, German, but the most common option at the end is English. Then the third subject is history of Spain, and the fourth subject, well, students can usually choose between mathematics applied to social science, and then arts. Okay, at the end, mathematics is usually giving more options, but of course there are some degrees where mathematics is not that important, so it's also possible to take arts.
Mm-hmm. So the exam itself, it depends which career you want to study afterwards, correct?
Correct. Usually the general phase I've just mentioned is kind of common, okay? So at the end, all students are getting more or less the same preparation, except this one to choose between mathematics and arts. And then the second part of the exam, well, it's a specific phase. It's named Fase Específica in Spanish. And basically you have to choose 2 extra subjects which need to be totally related to the degree, to the bachelor that you'd like to study. Okay, let's say, for example, as you were mentioning before, a student who wants to study engineering at UPC, well, in that case, the most recommended subjects are mathematics and physics, and these would be the 2 subjects done at the specific phase. Let's say, I don't know, you have a student interested in medicine, in dentistry, I don't know, in nursing or any scientific degree. On that case, the most recommended subjects, for example, would be chemistry and biology, as well, these subjects are giving you like the maximum points you need to access these kind of degrees. So this specific phase is, well, it's really depending on what the student wants to access, wants to study afterwards at the university, of course.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. And now, how can students prepare for this exam? Because it seems like there's a lot of knowledge required. Of course, there's a lot of competition to enter these affordable programs in the top institutions. How can you help them to prepare for this?
Well, basically, we're offering 3 different pathway courses during the year. So we have 3 different intakes. The most recommended course is our annual course, which is starting in October every year and ending by the middle of May, just before the official exam. It's an 8-month course, and well, it's the longest one at the end. It's the most recommended one in case someone wants to study any degree which is hard to access. Let's say in that way, like for example, medicine. Medicine usually like is the highest demanded degree in Spain. So
everywhere, not well, just in Spain.
Yeah, not just in Spain, at the end everywhere. So you'll need a really good preparation to access medicine in Spain. At the end, if you take the annual course, the probabilities of accessing medicine are much higher than if you take any other program, or even if you don't take any preparation. At the end, it's almost impossible to access this kind of degrees without any previous preparation. Okay, so yeah, after the annual course, we also have our intensive course 1, which is starting from January to May. It's also a really good course. At the end, it's a little bit shorter than the first one, but it's also covering all the preparation during 5 months. And yeah, it's a really good option anyway. Of course, it's not as long as the first course, which is the most recommended one, but there are some degrees which maybe you don't need that much preparation, like medicine. So it's also a good option to prepare just this course or this exam during 5 months. It will be more than enough to access some of the universities, some of the degrees. Okay, and the last course we have is our intensive course 2. It's basically a course made to students who have already received a previous preparation. Okay, it's only 4 months length, and at the end, it's not the same preparing well this kind of exams during 8 months or 5-6 months than 4 months. Okay, and the most important thing is that it's going from May to September. It's going, as we mentioned before, to the second call. The guarantees of accessing are not as high as maybe the ones that you're having with the 2 first courses. So yeah, obviously from my personal point of view, it's always better if you take like the annual course or the intensive 1 course, for sure.
So for our viewers, this means if you decide to make Academia GUIU your home and to study in a public university in Spain for undergraduate program, there's 3 intakes. There's one in October every year. The second one is in January, and the third one is in May.
Correct, in May.
Correct. But we recommend to take the annual program, as you will have well, I don't want to say it's stress-free because it requires your commitment and effort as well. But definitely it's the most recommended course to start in October. And Oliver, I think an important thing to mention here is also that the PCE exam is an exam that happens in Spanish language. So also accordingly, the preparation is going to happen in Spanish, right? So what if there's a student now who wants to start in October, but he doesn't speak Spanish yet?
Yeah, that's a really important point at the end. All the preparation and all the exams need to be done in Spanish language. So yeah, it's quite important for all international students to learn Spanish before joining any pathway. At the end, the pathway is also including a little bit of Spanish, but it's not the same. You need a minimum level in order to apply, in order to start this course. Okay, the minimum level on that case, it's a B1 level. And you can, well, of course, as I mentioned you before, we're also offering Spanish courses. And the best idea on that case, if you don't know Spanish, do not worry about it. You can also learn Spanish with us. We have, well, 4 different intakes for Spanish courses. And yeah, usually our Spanish courses go from scratch, from 0 level, until B1, B1.2 level, which is more than enough to join afterwards the pathway course, okay? Usually it takes between 3-4 months to any international student to reach this B1 level. And that's why our Spanish courses always start 3 months in advance, or 3-4 months in advance before joining the pathway, okay? We consider that's more than enough.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, of course, we're also an official Spanish school. We are accredited by Instituto Cervantes, which is the official institution in charge of the Spanish exams. So at the end, yeah, it's a huge guarantee. And by taking just 3-4 months of Spanish language before joining the pathway, it will be more than enough to reach that level and start the pathway afterwards without any kind of problem.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, that's a very good point. For the ones of you who don't know, Instituto Cervantes is a big certification here, a big institute in Spain, and it could be compared to Cambridge International for English.
Exactly.
So
correct.
That's the Spanish equivalent. Now we have a few questions, Oliver. So let's dive a bit into them. So Anujri is asking, are 5 to 6 months enough to learn Spanish to give the entrance test?
Well, yeah, to learn Spanish, it's more than enough with 5-6 months, okay? But the second pathway we talked about, which is the intensive course 1, it's also lasting 6 months, but we consider in that case that all international students already know Spanish, okay? If you want to take a program and you need to learn Spanish before and afterwards you need the pathway, the minimum length, it could be 8 months, okay? Starting in October, for example, with Spanish, and then in January joining the pathway once you already have like the B1.2 level or the B1 level, okay? 6 months is enough in case you already know Spanish and you have the minimum level. That's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, sounds great. So, oh, by the way, Oliver, I don't know if you read the post in the chat, but all of them really highlight your help in the past years and that you have consulted them in a very good way. So
well, I'm glad. Yeah, I've been seeing it, but yeah, and it's always a pleasure to read that kind of comments, and for sure, I'm glad about it.
Okay, that's great. So let's talk a bit about the timeline. So if somebody joins your course, let's say in July, then they will have, I mean, they just graduated from high school in their home country, and now they can join Academia GUIU in July for a Spanish course for 3 months. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it's followed by the annual program. And how do we continue from here? Like, when are we going to select the universities, and when are we going to start the applications? And, you know, how does it work until we start the university?
Yeah, more or less, it would be working the following way. They would be starting Spanish in July. From July, of course, until the end of September. Then by the end of September, there's a free week, some days free. By the first week of October, they would be already taking the pathway course from October until the end of May. And of course, the official exam is usually done by the last week of May. Okay, so the registration for that exam is being closed by the second week of May. Okay, and it's open more or less from February. So from February to May, they will have time to register for the exam. Of course, Academia GUIU will be helping them to register for the exam and selecting the most appropriate subjects for each one of them. But then, yeah, by the month of May, they will be, apart from taking the exams, they will be also having to make the applications to different universities. Okay, each community in Spain, let's say, for example, in Madrid, there are some dates that the registration procedure is opened and you have to register. Then maybe in Valencia you have some other dates, and then in Barcelona maybe you have some other dates. So at the end, here at Academia GUIU, we'll have everything ready for them. We'll have many reminders, and we'll be completing the registration procedure with them, which will be probably done by the middle and by the end of May. Okay, and then after checking the results, there's a huge advantage here, and it's that after checking the results, you can even modify your application. So in case you've seen, or maybe you were expecting, I don't know, not really good grade in history because you considered it was one of the most difficult subjects you've ever done in your full life, but then you realized that with the preparation, your exam was great, you were brilliant that day, and you've got a 9 out of 10, then of course you can modify your applications after receiving the results during the last days of May, even during the first weeks of June. So that's a huge advantage. And obviously we'll be guiding and counseling them through all the applications, which will be done by the months of May and June, usually.
Okay, perfect. So basically that means Academia GUIU is a safe bet. Like if our students come with you and you take them along the journey, and of course LEAP will be there on the sideline supporting students with every inquiry, and then basically they can join all the top institutions in Spain.
Correct. If they decide to pass the exam in May, which is the first goal, and they've completed both procedures, they've done the homologation of their previous studies, and of course they will pass the exam, because if they get the preparation with us, we guarantee them that they will get really good results. Of course, they will be able to apply to the top universities in Spain, to the best ones, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. In the meantime, we got some other questions. We have one here that says, is it hard to get the score 10 as a cut-off grade if you have a full GPA in your high school?
Well, in case you have a full GPA, usually the homologation rate from that studies is a 10 out of 10. So I see here that there's also another question related to EU students. It's more or less the same. Okay, the homologation from your high school, if you've studied in any European system or English system or whatever, usually the grade you will get is from 5 to 10. In case you've passed your high school with a minimum grade, it will be 5. In case you've got full points on your final exam and on your high school, it will be 10 out of 10. What you have to do in order to increase your final mark from 10 up to 14, which is the maximum grade, is passing the specific phase. Okay, the specific phase for EU students, it's only necessary to pass the specific phase so that your grade can be increased from 10 out of 10 to grade out of 14, which is the maximum grade here in Spain. Okay, so you would only need to prepare 2 subjects. Well, you need to prepare them quite well, as they will be improving your grade from 10 to 14. It's quite important, and it can make a huge difference to have a 10 or to have a 13 or 13.5. So this is the procedure. So you can get a maximum amount of 10 by completing your homologation, but in order to get the maximum points, which are 14, you need to pass the specific phase.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How do you handle currently the circumstances with, like if somebody's still studying from his home country, is it possible to join the program as well? Like, let's say if somebody's still studying in high school, or if somebody cannot travel at the moment?
Yeah, for sure. At the moment, we're offering both online classes and face-to-face or on-campus classes. So it's possible to join the course even if you're not in Spain, even if you're still studying your high school I don't know, let's say in Egypt, or let's say in the US, or wherever you are. So you'll be able to have access to recording database as well, which is available during 72 hours, so more or less 3 days after the class is taught. And yeah, this is the main system we're using, so that students can study online at the moment, and they don't have, or there's no need for them to stay physically here in Spain. Of course, our recommendation at the end, if possible, is always to study face-to-face. We've been doing that for a lot of time, and this is, well, from our point of view, the best method to take the course. But obviously, we had to adapt, and there are many other alternatives to join the course.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I mean, of course, the ultimate goal for the student is to get the full Barcelona experience and come here to the campus and meet everybody face to face and exactly. Go to different events. I mean, right now we are a bit restricted, but I mean, it's something that will improve in the future. And I mentioned it in the beginning of the session. We have a lot of students coming. A lot of people came here in January also to join the Academia GUIU courses in person. So it is possible. Don't be discouraged.
Yeah, and well, just as additional information, we're following all the measures from the Ministry of Education in terms of students' capacity and maximum capacity per room. Of course, well, there's a lot of ventilation on the classes, and there's a maximum number of students allowed per campus. So of course, there's not any kind of problem if someone wants to join directly the face-to-face group.
Okay, no, that's good to know. If you comply with the safety regulations of the government, of the students, I mean, after all, it's an insane experience to come here in a positive way, and we're making the best out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There was one question from Saida. Can you talk about private universities? Yes, we can. Please reach out to me directly afterwards. We work with all private universities as well. Today's session, although, is about the public education itself. Okay, so we have also students who join in their last high school year. It's something that's picking up more and more. Because people are going to do the foundation course at the same time as their high school studies. How do you see that?
Well, I think it's a really good opportunity for students who, let's say, don't want to spend time on a prep year. However, I think they shouldn't be seeing that preparation year as they are losing time. At the end, they will have plenty of time to succeed at their studies and professionally speaking. But of course, if they want to try and they want to well, do simultaneously their high school studies and also the preparation course, it's possible to do it through the recordings, through the online lessons. So I don't think there's any disadvantage. Well, the only problem I can see is well, it's up to them. In case they are able to schedule everything correctly and to have a good organization, I don't see any kind of problem. But yeah, the most important thing at the end is that they complete their high school and that they receive their high school diploma without any kind of delay or problem, so that afterwards we can complete the homologation and they can already access university. But I don't see any problem with that.
Okay, so both ways is possible. If you're a hard worker and you want to do it at the same time in your last high school year, or if you want the full experience and get a relaxed transition to Spain, and by taking 1 year learning Spanish, focusing on the entry exam completely, and then nailing it and study in the institution you want to study.
Exactly. Both options are available.
There was another question here in the chat, which said, what is the price difference between public and private universities in Spain?
Well, the price difference is huge. At the end, the average price of public universities is around 1,000 euros to 2,500 euros. This is more or less the range we're talking about. That's for public universities, like fully public. which are the vast majority of them. At the end, more than 50 out of 70 or 80, which is the total amount of universities, are public. And then considering private universities, I would say the price range is between 6,000 maybe to 12,000 more or less. Maybe some of them are even more expensive, but the price range is between 6,000 to 12,000. So I would consider studying on a public one if you got the correct preparation and if you got the chance, because the difference is huge.
Yeah, and I mean, in the end, we're talking about bachelor degrees. So in Spain, this could mean studying between 3 and 6 years. And if you think about the annual fees that you're paying for private institutions, let's say 10,000 euros, in 4 years, you will spend 40,000 versus if you invest 1 year of your time to study in this incredible program, afterwards you can study for a lot cheaper from year 2 to 5.
Exactly, that's it. So on the long term, it will save you a lot of money. So I would think about it.
I mean, I personally studied business, so I see everything as an investment in terms of time and money, and I think this is a horse to bet on.
Correct. That's more or less the same point of view I'm having. So yeah, we agree on that.
Okay. Then I just want to mention on a side note, so Academia GUIU is LEAP of official partner, and of course you provide the course. Everything else that is related to the end-to-end student journey is something that LEAP can help you with. So we not only help you guiding into the right direction, to the right program, but also we support with student visa, with the relocation to Spain, and all the landing, we call them landing operations that you have to do. Because in the end, you come here and you need to apply for residency, you need to register with the town hall. That's a bit of Spanish bureaucracy, but it's really only in the first 2 or 3 months. And once you got this behind you, you're looking at a beautiful journey in a Spanish university.
Exactly, I totally agree with that. And I highly recommend you to take LEAP support. At the end, they are really good professionals, and so far all the students that we've had with them came with everything ready, with a lot of energy and a lot of motivation. So yeah, I highly recommend you to leave all these tough things like appointments at the town hall, and all these kind of procedures to LEAP, and they'll be able to help you for sure.
Okay, great, thanks. So Oliver, let's summarize maybe again here in the end. So Academia GUIU provides everybody with all the language requirements and all the university entry exam preparation that they need to access undergraduate studies in public education. Can you give us the starting dates again?
Yeah, the starting dates for the Spanish lessons are on May, July, October, and January. We have 4 different intakes for the Spanish courses. And then talking about pathway courses, we have intakes in October, in January, and in May.
Okay, excellent. So that means if somebody finished their high school, their final high school exams and gets the transcript in like May, June, July this year, they can come to Barcelona in July and start the Spanish course, and then in October they start the university preparation, and then next year in May they would take the university entry exam, and from September they can basically start their career.
Exactly. From September next year they would be already starting university lessons on campus, or maybe online depending on the situation. But however, they'll be there for sure. Okay,
and maybe one additional note from our end. So to start the process, now is probably a very good time because due to coronavirus, the student visa processing takes a little longer. So if you're listening to this and you're non-European and you want to come to Barcelona in July this year, or maybe even in May, then we should start the process right away. So if you want to do that, you can of course get in touch with me. If you have a specific question for Oliver, let us know or write Oliver directly, and I'm sure we can figure it out to help you.
For sure. In case you have any further question and information you want to have, please just text us and we'll be able to provide you with whatever you need.
Perfect. Oliver, are there any final words that you would like to say to our viewers?
Well, it's been a pleasure to be here with you today, Tom. Thanks so much to all the viewers, everyone for the attendance, and hopefully we'll get in touch soon. I highly recommend you to contact Tom in case you are interested in receiving more information about Spanish courses, about pathway courses in Spain, or basically if you're thinking about applying to any university in Spain. And yeah, that's more or less everything. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, also from my side to everybody, thanks. I highly encourage you come to Spain. It's really awesome here. And I hope you get the joy to come to our office in Barcelona and also to the Academy here in Barcelona. It's a very centrally, beautifully located building. And Oliver, to you, thanks a lot for your time and for all these insights that you shared with us. And then I can just say, have a great evening, everybody.
Well, thanks to you, Tom. Good evening to everyone.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.